All right, it's roundup time. That is a time in which we take a look at multiple products and rather quick rapid fire reviews. Now, if you've been following my reviews this year, you know I've been doing a rubric system. That does not apply to the roundup because we're trying to do a quick review. Now, some of these are going to be even overviews of a brand new product, but I just wanted to show it off because I'll feature it in another roundup because one of them is just so cool. I had to show it off before I really dove into it too much. So we've got 3 games that we're going to review. A 3D printer, and spoiler here, this is the best machine I've ever used. Hands down. So stick around for that. And then we're going to take a look at Paper App Dungeon. This is a notepad and a dice pencil. Yeah, that's correct. Throw the pencil down on your tray table. You can throw it on your desk, whatever you want to do, and roll the dice pencil and play that. So we're going to take a look at all these games today, and we'll come back. We'll talk final thoughts. So let's start now with Indiana Jones, Throw Me the Idol. If you know anything, Indiana Jones is my favorite IP. Did I think this was going to be like Indiana Jones meets Mansions of Madness? Absolutely not. I knew what it was when I bought it on Amazon, right? So Indiana Jones, Throw Me the Idol. Let's take a look at how it plays. We'll come back up, talk final thoughts. Last but not least, Indiana Jones, Throw Me the Idol. It is exactly what it sounds like. Silly fun. You're going to take these big chunky pieces out of here, and the meat of the game has nothing to do with these things, really. It has more to, well, I guess this is the meat of the game, but the main thing you're going to be doing is actually building a map to get to the center using these cards. You're going to turn over cards and match symbols. One person plays as Indiana Jones, the other one plays as Belloc, excuse me. They call him Balosh. Belloc. It's literally my favorite movie of all time. They call him Balosh. It's one of my favorite things. And then he goes, "That counts as 2 or 1. Anyway, you're going to place these out. You're going to try to match symbols and build the map from your area into the center where the idol is. You throw me the idol, I throw you the whip. And then he becomes Dr. Octopus. How about that? Anyway, the first person gets there gets points, and then you're going to flip over a brave challenge. And we're going to go through some of these. So close shave, idol swap. Some of these are going to be things where you're throwing stuff across the room. Some of these are good things where you have to put a blindfold on and you quickly, sneakily reach over without getting slapped by the spear or the whip or the spider. You're going to be doing lots of different little things like that that just add challenge to the game using these foam pieces here. But that is Indiana Jones, Throw Me the Idol. So like I said, this is my favorite IP of anything, Indiana Jones. Do I want an Indiana Jones Mansions of Madness Imperial Assault? Absolutely I do. Am I going to get it? Probably not. But this game, I knew what it was. It was going to be a fun little party game that us and the kids could play together. Did it turn out to be that? Yes, it did. Now, am I going to bring this to game night? Absolutely not. But am I going to play this with the kids where we throw a whip across the floor and try to land nearest to the idol? 100%. So this is a dad review score for me. It's a 7.5 for me as a dad. Now, if you're asking me as a gamer, bringing this to a game night with other adults, it's like a 3. Of course, this is not going to be a game that I'm like, guys, we've got to play this before we play Ankh, right? But as a dad and somebody who loves Indiana Jones, I love this game as a game that we're going to play together as a family. Which takes us to Digsa. Now, Digsa is a roll, cut, and collect. Now, this is an interesting concept. It's from Stronghold Games. It's not a roll and write. It's not a flip and write. It's not a flip and roll. It's not a flip and run. Whatever. That'd be Candyland, right? Flip and move. This is a game where you're going to roll the dice and then choose to cut certain things on your page and collect. So let's take a look at what Digsa does. We'll come back, talk final thoughts. All right, let's talk Digsa. This is a game, a roll, cut, and collect. So essentially, you've got these pads here with different levels on them. You're going to take scissors, which it does come with some scissors, and you're going to roll the dice. Now, basically, there's quite a few pads here and quite a few scissors. You're going to choose one of the 2 things. You're going to choose the color from one and the number from the other. So if you pick green, you'd take the 3. If you pick red, you'd pick the 4. Then you're going to cut from the edge that many spaces in. Now eventually you're going to try to collect certain things by cutting them out using the parameters of the numbers. Now it's a pretty simple concept, but you're going to be collecting jewels, treasure, avoiding skulls at the end. You're going to collect the number here, get any bonuses and deduct the total, and then the person with the most points wins the game. So again, super simple, but cool concept. Yet again, we're doing roll and cut versus roll and write. That's Digsa. Now, I like when a game does something quirky, right? Like the first time I heard of roll and write, I was like, oh, that's cool, right? The first thing I heard of flip and write, I was like, that's cool. When it came to roll and cut, I was like, well, that's an interesting concept. Now, at the end of the day, is it the most compelling game? Not like, it's like I would rather play Trails of Tucana, which is a flip and write. But this does something unique and different, and it adds to the genre. So I'm really excited to see where this goes from here. But currently it sits at a 7 for me, 6.5, 7, just because
there's a lot to explore with it, but it's simple, and it's a little too simple in the sense of, well, crud, I've got to cut these up every time. You're eventually going to run out. Now, you get a lot in there, but you can't laminate this like a roll and write. So Digsaw, interesting concept. Let me know what your thoughts are on Digsaw, because I'm kind of excited to hear what more people think of that. Now, let's look at dice cards. It is a game of dice and cards. No, it's a roll and write, but this does something unique. I'm going to show you first, and we'll come back, talk final thoughts.
All right, dice cards. So this is exactly what it sounds like. It's dice and cards. So basically, this is a roll and write. Now, all of the cards you're going to notice are dry erase markers. And there are 50 different puzzles. Now, on the back side, it kind of tells you how to do the puzzles, and on the front side, it tells you what the puzzles are. So this one's Sudoku. This is ups and downs. There's your roll tracker, so you can keep track. You play 50 rolls. Bowling, Marble Madness. You're going to be moving the, putting an X on the amount and then kind of rolling it back and forth. Chicken catching, golf, aliens. Now, every single one of these plays different using the 2 dice. Now, you can either choose to do the dice separately, let's say here it'd be a 2 and a 1. So you can choose a 2 or 1, or you can add them together to make it a 3. You're going to get 9 of these cards. You're going to choose the 6 you want, and you're going to roll 50 rounds. Person with the most points adding up on all of your cards wins the game. But again, the permutations of different cards is pretty marvelous.
Now, box art looks almost like something you see in a classroom, right? It's pretty straightforward. It's a little dull, the box art. However, I love this game. I love the fact that there's 50 different mini games, and you choose from your 9 which 6 you're going to keep, and you play them. And what they're playing is different than what you're playing. Some of you may share one of the 2 cards that are the same, but odds are you're playing something completely different. And every time you play this, it's completely different. It really does feel like when you go to the flea market and somebody has one of those NES machines, there's like 5,000 games, and it's like 72 versions of Galaga, which was not an NES original, it was an Atari Arcade original, but that's what this feels like. Like, they're not super different. Like, somebody's not going to get a card and go, oh my gosh, I'm playing Dinogenics on my card while you're playing like Gone Schon Clever on yours. No. But my point is, it's very different. Like, you have to choose. When you choose to place that number down, you go, okay, wait, what do I want to do with this? And I like that. I really like it. And I like that the games are different enough. And I like that you have enough choices when it comes to what you're going to do with a number. And many times you go, oh, I need an 8 for this. And you go, oh, but I really need an 8 for that. Then you start to math out the points. And it may be a 1 or 2 point swing, but at the end of the game, that might win you the game. I love dice cards. It's maybe one of my favorite roll and writes out there, just because it's not overly complicated and it's not too simple. It's right in the middle, and you can throw this down with anybody. You can deal out pre-planned hands of 6 cards to people if you want it to be beginners or more advanced, or you can choose the 6 you want to play out of all 50, right? There's so many different permutations of what this game can be. I believe it's 50 times 49 times 48 times 47 times 40, whatever, something like that. I think like that's how many different combinations this could be for you picking yours out. So, really cool. I like dice cards. Check this out. Now, last but not least, before we go to the printer, actually, let's do the printer first. This is the Elegoo Saturn 4 Ultra. This is an entirely brand new machine from Elegoo. It is a resin 3D printer, which, if you know me, I'm a fan of resin prints just because of the amazing detail. I printed out a little Magneto helmet and a Wolverine helmet on this thing immediately, and oh my gosh, it turned out beautifully. Here's what I love about this. The hardest thing when it comes to resin printing is leveling that print bed and getting it right. This doesn't need that. It auto levels itself, so much so that the vat of resin levels itself around the plate. So every time that plate comes down, that bed moves, and the bed will move up and down versus the print head moving. So it is a beautifully easy to use machine. A little on the pricey side of intro printing, but it's not made for like the very first printer. Like, this is something where it's a good size printer. You can do, full Lokis on this, like a Loki helmet from the Loki show. You can do all that kind of full-size stuff on here, as well as just a ton of bits and pieces. But with the accuracy of having that 3D print bed level itself, it's a game changer for me. This is the feature that I look forward on any machine going forward will be, does it have this feature? Because that's an instant win for me. So, Elegoo Saturn 4 Ultra, great machine. Absolutely, if you're looking to get into kind of next level 3D printing, that's the one to get. Last but not least, let's take a quick look at Paper App Dungeon.
All right, this is Paper App Dungeon. I'm going to flip to a middle one here. So essentially, you're going to roll the dice, which is this pencil. whatever it shows up as. So we have a 2. From the starting position, we're going to draw a line of 2 spaces. Now, if you encounter something, you'll collect it. You'll fight enemies. You can choose to leave. You'll collect your health. You'll take the bonus at the end, and you'll carry it on to the next mission. So then floor 31. And you can keep going like a dungeon crawler where you're going down further and further in the dungeon. Think like Stardew Valley's dungeons, right? And then you can eventually choose to leave the dungeon if you find a set of stairs, boom, and get there. So it's a very simple concept, rolling right with the pencil as the dice, and then moving, but it's such an interesting little unique mechanic that I've not seen done before.
Now, the reason I brought this up, it's a brilliant concept. This is the game. It's a notepad with little dungeon scrolling on it, and the dice is a pencil. You don't need anything extra. You literally take your pencil, stick it in here, and then you're ready to play. Throw the pencil on the ground. I got a 3. You mark 3 spaces. If you collect coins, if you fight monsters, if you want to get to a stairs and escape, it plays like a dungeon crawling game. Now, again, I'm just doing an overview of this because I haven't dove into it far enough, but I wanted you to see this because this is the kind of stuff I love when it comes to new innovations of simplistic but detailed gaming. Now, what I mean by that is this is very simple. However, what it offers is a very deep experience. I'm a sucker for any roll and write that's a dungeon crawl. I believe there's another one. I can't think of the name of it right offhand. It should be right over there. Paper Dungeon or something like that. I love dungeon crawls that are roll and writes. Yes, they're simple, but you get the feel and flavor of like an old school point and click adventure game, and this one does it really well. So I'm very excited to see where Paper App Dungeon goes. Not the best name. It sounds like Kenny Omega's title, the Best Bout Machine or something like that. It sounds a little clunky on the lips, but Paper App Dungeon, fantastic idea. So I want to see where that goes. So that's a roundup of several different games and a printer there. So I hope you enjoyed this. I'm Brian Drake here on the Dice Tower. Make sure to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, etc. at Dice Tower Brian. Until next time, we'll see you.